the theme for the month of December is, surprise, surprise, light. And we begin this week, our first of 5 Sundays in December, with a concept called Bright Star. Sometime a while ago, I think it was back in 2005 or 6, when I was reading a bunch of whatever was current from Deepak Chopra and Dr. Fred Alan Wolf. Anybody know Dr. Quantum? That's his other name, his animated name. Greg Braden and some others. Somehow I got a hold of this idea that we are stardust animated. And although I didn't do it this morning, you often hear me say, I know that there is one energy in this universe, one power, one presence, one substance, one activity going on. And that the truth of who we are is that we are God in form. We are spirit made manifest. We are heaven on earth and stardust animated. I remember some of the people at my center in North Carolina had that line memorized. One of them put it above the doorway of her little shop. She loved it so much. So I really liked that, and I grabbed a hold of that, and I've been using that declaration for a long time as part of how I declare my oneness and our oneness with all that is. Just like that. Stardust animated. I decided to look up the scientific basis for this idea. And what I discovered is that there's a new book out called Stardust Revolution by Jacob Berkowitz. No, I haven't read it yet, because I found out about it maybe 2 days ago. So Stardust Revolution is the story of this idea, which began to be contemplated in the 1960s by some Nobel scientists, and continued to be explored and confirmed and proven over the years since then. And it's considered the third revolution in scientific theory, the Stardust Revolution. And basically, what I do know that it says at the core of all of it is that the organic matter from which all life is made comes from stardust. So, I'll have to go get the book and learn more about why that is so, or how that is so. But this idea that we are stardust animated is one that has been insistent. It has been persistent. And there are those who have discovered that it is true. And it's just a revolutionary idea about our connection with the cosmos. That we're not so unique. And that we are made of heavenly stuff. So, there's your Stardust Revolution. When somebody becomes extremely successful, and maybe we refer to them as famous, we also call them a star. When someone's rise to stardom is swift and bright and powerful and great, we have other astronomical terms that we use to describe that rise. Some of them who are only here for a brief time might be referred to as a shooting star. And perhaps as we witness the passing of someone who has made a great mark on the world, we acknowledge that with similar terminology. There's something within us that already loves to recognize that we are from the stars, that there's something heavenly and bright and amazing and infinite about who we are. So what does it mean to shine? What does it mean in earthly, human, everyday terms to shine brightly? Well, there are some simple answers to that. And one opportunity just came up a few days ago. Because we're in this season where we have this tendency to make plans with family and friends and get together a little more. And spend time together a little more. And in some cases, connect with and spend time with people we don't otherwise see on a daily basis. You'll notice some of these chairs are empty because some people have gone for the whole weekend to some far-off place to sit with family and friends around a table and spend time together, as they have chosen to do perhaps only once a year now. So we have this opportunity. The one that happened on Thursday was called Thanksgiving dinner. Did anybody do that? Okay, I did. An opportunity to shine brightly. Here's what it looks like in the daily life of humanity. And I'll tell you, I did pretty well on Thanksgiving Day, and I didn't do so well with this yesterday. My scorecard would have been a little bit on the low side. That's because over time, many of us have learned to deny our light. Many of us have heard and believed that we're not so bright. Many of us have gotten caught up in admiring the brightness, the success, the stardom of someone else. A master teacher, a good actor, a great athlete, a star employee, a musician, an artist, someone else, whom we believe has it all. And what we may not have practiced very much is the recognition of our own brilliance. I'm getting to the Thanksgiving dinner. Carolyn Mace did a book. I'm thinking it was back in the mid-2000s. And what a funny phrase that is, huh? It's called Why People Don't Heal and How They Can. And what she discovered is that lots of us going to these workshops, trying to get all the answers from the people who do know, those stars, those experts, those masters, paying all our money, our plane fare and our hotel rooms and all of our meals and our taxis and our trains and our whatevers, so that someone else could tell us what we need to know in order to be whole again. She said she discovered this strange phenomenon. That people had become so attached to the seeking that they had identified with what was missing and the opposite of their wholeness, which was unwellness, to the point where they didn't know how to identify with that. And instead, there was an attachment to woundedness. And she wanted to know more about that, and Carolyn digs until she finds out, doesn't she? So what she found out is that culturally, somehow, this concept of denying the light that we are had become quite popular over thousands of years. This cultural, social thing developed this habit of denying our light and offered it up unconsciously as socially acceptable. So what she discovered, and what correlates with what we're exploring in this moment today, is that it was more acceptable to say, I've had a rotten day. I'm not having a very good time. Life is difficult. You just can't get good help these days. The economy is in the pits. The traffic is terrible. And it never really ever works out for me. And so on and so forth. It's a great book. It is a great work. Because unconsciously, over time, we have given up a little piece and another piece and another piece of our identification with the light within us, which actually cannot be diminished or ever given up at all. But we gave up our attention to it, our belief in it, our identification with it. And we traded it in for an identification with what's going on right now, which is the economy, the traffic, my bank account, my relationships, my whatever that's not working for me, my unmet need, my experience of something other than wholeness. And we just made it a habit of identifying with that. So she calls this woundology. And she says that we have unconsciously slipped into this thing where we connect by saying, hi, how are you today? And then one of us says, terrible, my something or other hurts. And then the other one says, oh yeah, me too, I have one of those and it hurts too. This is where my scorecard keeps slipping, by the way, because I know this, and I'm human, and I'm like, oh, I did it again. So, we politely agree with these conversation starters, which may have something to do with arthritis, or the economy, or real estate, or whatever. And we say, oh yes, I have one of those too. We bond in woundedness. Now we have the opportunity to take a deep breath, stand up tall, or sit up straight and say, wait a minute, I'm going to offer something different next time I connect with another person. I don't have to agree with that, and I don't have to judge that person as wrong. But it's okay for me to say that I'm having a great day. It's okay for me to say that I'm having a different experience of the economy or the market, that I'm having a different experience at work, that I'm having a different experience in my family, that I'm having a different experience in my body, right? So back to the Thanksgiving dinner table. How did you do? I was pretty proud of myself. Because, see, I used to just find this comfortable place of just saying, oh, well, it's only a few hours. And I just won't say anything. Oh, well, I didn't even have coffee. I just felt talkative. And so Rick and I were both there together. And every time there would be a point that was made that was, a familiar and common negative insight, I offered a positive one. We were like, I don't know if we'll be invited back for dinner or not. But it was just so delightful. It wasn't argumentative. It was this banter. You throw me a rock, I throw you a flower. You throw me a piece of doo-doo, I'll throw you another flower. And we were just having fun, sharing our opinions without attachment and without the necessity to agree. So that was the beginning of breaking the habit of agreeing with the worst. It was really quite refreshing. And then I thought, okay, so it's easy for me to recognize when other people that I know seem to be focusing on the negative. How am I doing? I went to see this lady who cuts my hair, and what do you know? I sat down in her chair. I said, how you doing? How was your Thanksgiving? She goes, great. I only gained X number of pounds. I said, really? And she said, how'd you do? I don't know what I said, but it was like, oh yeah. I was going to go to the gym today, or I was going to ride my bike today, but it's too windy. I was going to go to the gym, but whatever. And so it was some sort of, agreeing with defeat. Like I didn't want to dishonor her weight gain by saying that I had a good day. All unconscious. So this is part of what we do to dampen our light. This is part of what we do unconsciously to deny our greatness. The good news is that shining our light has become quite popular. There's an evolution going on. There's a revolution taking place. I have to say that probably Oprah Winfrey gets a lot of the credit for starting this whole thing, for bringing it to the common marketplace, into living rooms around the country and the world, and others. She's gotten lots of us to read books we wouldn't have read before. The fact is that even though in human history we have medieval and draconian things that we have done, and that some of us on this planet are still doing, there is an evolution taking place. Because life is persistent. Light is persistent. It is the insistence of life itself to be embodied and to be expressed. It will have its way. It is having its way. As we remove the obstacles to that, we're able to be conduits for more of it. And regardless of how long it takes, or how many no's, maybe we have this little baffling system, we have this gauntlet for good. It's got to get through all this stuff. It moves like water does. It always finds a way. So more of this light is being expressed. More of it is being embodied consciously by us and expressed. And what happens is that light in us, just like the tuning fork rings, and then all of the other tuning forks like it begin to ring as well, and you didn't even touch them. The same thing happens when we awaken to our light. So, there are some more holiday parties and dinners still on the calendar, right? Many of us are going back home, perhaps to work. Perhaps we're going to travel a little bit. Whatever our routine is, we're going to meet other human beings along the way. And we have this opportunity. We have this opportunity to choose to shine. To choose to shine. And we can remember that shining is in everyone. We can remember these things that were in this statement from Marianne Williamson. We are powerful beyond measure, brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. You are a child of God. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. But what? We're recognizing it's not so frightening because we've tried it. I know these two young people who are almost the same age, two guys who are in their lower 20s. And one of them is on this sort of charge of negativity and what's wrong with the world. And the other one is so high on A Course in Miracles and spiritual mind treatment and spiritual study, one is blessing everything he can get his hands on. It's so interesting to watch the two of them. Because we have the opportunity to go this way or that with what we focus on. What we recognize as light and enlightening. And the thing is that once we try the real stuff, we get hooked on that, don't we? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Now, it may be not only enlightening, but it might be a little courageous even to not shrink when you get together with people at the next party or event. It might be, in your case, courageous to say something positive, to say something humorous. Perhaps we're breaking some old cycles of agreeing to be in the mood that grandmother was in, to agree to be in the mood that our siblings were in. The thing is, we have this power. When we let ourselves shine, when we let our souls sing, we don't have to have a sales pitch. We don't have to convince someone to convert. We don't have to seal the deal somehow. All we have to do is be that vibration. Let that light shine. Be that positivity. Be that peace. Be that trust. And when you get either an unconscious or a conscious invitation to do otherwise, just smile and keep moving. And keep being that peace, and being that trust, and being that light. You'll find that those people want to hang around you. They don't know why, but they just feel good when they do it. So they might be in touch a little bit more. I have a lot of people that I've known like this in my life. Couldn't get along with anyone else for some reason. I would get together with these people that I knew at school or at work, and they say, gosh, I want you to be my best friend. Because I was nice to this person, and everyone else couldn't find a way to do that. And the funny thing is, when I go back and visit these areas where I've lived and gone to school and worked, this person, that whichever one it was, would never get together in a group environment to visit with everyone. They're still like an island. But they let me visit their island. And they wanted me to stay in touch. It's a beginning. It's a beginning. Because it is in every one of us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence, I didn't say sales pitch, our presence automatically liberates others. So really, all we have to do is say, yes, I'd love to come, thank you. Or invite them over. And you don't need to proselytize, you don't need to earn a reputation as another Pollyanna something or other. Just be gracious. Just be the one person who looks them in the eye. Says, yes, I know. I hear you. I see you. I understand you. Just do that. There's one woman in our Science of Mind 102 class, and I'll close with this story. She decided to go to work, and she said, okay, from now on, because this is it's an 8-week class, and next week is her final one. She said to her coworkers in week 1, I've decided I'm going to stop complaining, because she had a lot of complaints about her work experience. And so her coworkers said, oh, okay. You know, this was like Monday. And so she stuck with her plan all day. Tuesday came. She said, I'm still doing that thing I said I was going to do yesterday. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, by Wednesday, and definitely by the end of the week, because we met every Wednesday, she said, my whole experience at work has changed. Those people don't come around the corner and terrorize me with things I don't want them to ask me to do. I don't dread them coming around the corner. I look forward to it. Our experience at work has changed. And she went on over the course of these weeks to say, you know what else? My experience at home has changed. My experience with my family has changed. My experience with my relationship to my good has changed. She used to feel guilty about having a good time. So she thought the answer was to go have a good time but feel guilty about it, and that way everybody would be satisfied. And the last thing that she did was go on a cruise, and I said, I invite you to consider throwing overboard when you're out there anything that no longer serves you. And she came back and she said, I did it. And I had the most wonderful time. I no longer feel guilty about enjoying my life. I don't feel the need to deny myself or hide my joy. And she just said, I'm so happy. So when you make this decision to let your own light shine, to acknowledge the bright star in you, to acknowledge that you're part of something so great, they're still busy discovering how great it is. When you do that, not only do you open up to this feeling that we're all having right now, of infinite possibility, of so much boundless joy, so much good, but you awaken it in everyone else. Just by being. Don't have to do anything else except for that. So I invite you to go home, or go wherever you're going during this holiday season, and start your own Stardust revolution. Let's see what happens. So